Yeah. The only one I haven't seen yet is part 4. The Crackdown.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. 5 isn't bad. But I think I'll stick with the first 3.
Yeah.
3, I love 3 so much. It's like there's no way they can do another one after it. Because 3 is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, I think, is the most popular act besides the first one, because I know they made a video game out of it, and it's the favorite with fans when it comes to the Death Wish franchise besides the first movie.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, I gotta watch that 4th one, so I can say that I've seen them all.
Yeah.
I know one time Stallone was gonna do a Death Wish remake.
Yes, he was, but I think because of the fact that how he's because him and Charles Bronson were big action heroes back in the 80s, and he came out with Rambo, and he came out with Death Wish, and Stallone was like, this. I think it'll be a mix up with the fans, because it's like I'm entering someone else's thing, and maybe I should stick with my own thing with Rambo. I think that's one of the reasons why Stallone didn't want to drop the project.
Yeah, and just briefly touching on, what John was saying about Stallone performances that should have gotten Oscars, that never got Oscars. There's 2 that come to mind. 2 that I forgot to add to my list, besides, First Blood, obviously, that whole ending scene with Rambo breaking down, and Copland, yes. that brilliant scene in Copland where he knows he could have the girl, but he doesn't do it because he wants to be respectful to her. Like when they're listening to, I think Bruce Springsteen or something like that.
Yeah.
After her husband dies, but that scene in Get Carter, where he's on the roof talking to his niece after he figures out everything that happened. I don't know if you remember that scene. I
do remember that, yes.
And he's like practically crying. And he's all worked up. That scene is so great. That scene is just so great. Because it touches back to he had to leave town because, he thought his life was no more good here, and the girl is just trying to escape because she feels like all this is her fault, and that, that resonance with him where he's just kind of like, you could just go right past it, you can just continue, you don't have to let the past determine your future. And I think that's one of the reasons why he turns around at the end of that movie, goes for the new look and decides he's going to do something different with himself. That scene, and another great scene that scene always makes me cry whenever I'm actually choked up right now talking about it. But the other great scene is that movie Detox, that ICU.
Oh, yes.
Where he breaks into his house after the police left, and he slits his wrist. Do you remember that scene?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was another great scene where it's we've never seen Sly do anything like that in a movie. And it was such a heartbreaking scene. Damn.
Of course, another one he should have been nominated for was Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. That whole meat house scene where he's, Paulie's pushing him and he fucking breaks down.
I think that was his best performance in years.
Yeah.
I know people mention Creed, but for me it's Rocky Balboa, because that scene where he talks about the beast inside and everything, he's breaking down. I think that was I know he did some emotional scenes before, but I don't think he ever did an emotional scene like that. He should have been nominated for that instead, because that was the time of his big comeback.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had some amazing scenes. Just amazing scenes that they should have gave him awards for that. I just like you guys were saying, like you and Matt and like John was saying, how like there's just so much more they should have gave him awards for. There's just so many scenes that you look at now that you're like, shit, man. Like Cobra, he completely changed his speech pattern, how he looked, everything, completely changed it for that movie. The scenes we mentioned, First Blood, definitely. That ending scene of First Blood, he should have gotten an award for that. Fuck, man. Just some pretty crazy scenes, like Paradise Alley, when the...
Oh, yeah, I love that movie. I think that's a very underrated... He directed that. He did the song for that as well.
Yeah. There's two scenes in that movie that make me cry. The first one is when that big guy there, Eclipse from Lockup, kills himself.
Oh, yeah.
When he jumps in the water, that makes me cry. And the other one is when he's talking to Tom Waits, when Tom Waits is playing the piano in the bar. And he's like, Mumbles, when's the last time you were with a woman? That hole broke inside to Tom Waits. Like, that gets me every time. And for you kids out there who don't know who Tom Waits is, look him up, because that's where Heath Ledger got his Joker from. So,
wow.
Yeah, exactly like Tom Waits. Exactly, 100% like exactly Tom Waits. But great scenes like Rocky 3 when Mickey dies and he's standing on the bridge.
I think, yeah. Oh yeah, he went all out, man. You could tell that was real, because it was like he was saying goodbye to a. He knew Mickey was an important character to the franchise, and you could tell that Stallone. It wasn't just Rocky crying; it was Stallone crying, because he was sad to let this character go, because this was his best creation, and he made the Rocky franchise what it is, and it wasn't just hard for Rocky. You could tell it was hard for Stallone, the way he did that scene.
Yeah,
the way he was breaking down.
Yeah, and that scene where he's like, like in Rocky 3 when he's watching the sun go down when he's standing on the bridge.
Yeah.
And he's all bandaged up and he's just looking out over the city. Like looking out over the junkyard where he trained in Rocky 1. And like that another one that gets me is in Rocky 2 when Adrian's in the hospital. And he's reading to her. Oh man!
Of course, the scene in Rocky 3 when where he sees the statue of him, and he throws the helmet at him all angry.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a good one.
I will say he did a good job. I know people shit on for Rocky 5, but I think the best part for Rocky 5 that could have got an Oscar is when he's in the street. And he's talking to agents saying, I don't want this anymore. I didn't want to come back here. I want something good for the family. This is not me anymore. I should never come back here. I don't want this.
Yeah. That was a great scene. Or that scene he has with Sage when he goes down into the basement.
Oh yeah.
And Sage is yelling at him. I remember when Rocky 5 came out, that was the clip that they used like in all the press.
They always use that, and of course they faded to the interview with Stallone and Sage at that time when they're sitting down, and Stallone was wearing the glasses.
Have you seen those Creed deleted scenes?
No, I haven't. With the one where where there's a picture of Sage and he's crying.
Yeah, and he's got his hand on the picture, and the other one where he's talking to Adrian saying that he wish he would have raised his son better, and oh man, it's just like, I don't know what it is about that, but like that hits me every time. Like that whole Sage dynamic just fucking hits me.
Oh yeah, because he died in real life. It's very, very sad. Very sad. You can tell Stallone put all of his stuff in that movie.
Yeah. Like that scene when he's talking to Adonis about his son moving on and everything, that you could see that it was so hard for him to do that scene. Like he was so broken in that scene. you could tell he's like pretty much just walking off camera because he's gonna cry. You know, he leaves the house. Such a great scene.
You think he should have gotten nominated for Lockup?
Yeah, he had some really great scenes in that movie too. He had some pretty good scenes in that one.
I think my favorite scene is where after the car gets busted up and he tells them that you gotta let this go. This is his place. I'm not your leader and stuff like that. I think that was another good acting. And every time I think of that movie, I usually think of that scene acting wise when it comes to Stallone. Just him yelling at them, "I'm not your leader. This is the way it is. You gotta let it go. This is his place. We can't do." I love that scene.
Yeah, or just that scene in general where they're all standing and watching the car get destroyed, and they're all just like looking, and that awesome soundtrack, and
oh yeah,
wow, there's so many great Sly moments, so many. Man, let's see what else was there. What else did? I'm trying to think of another good one. Another great Sly moment.
How about the first Rocky?
Oh, the first Rocky, there's a ton. I would say also in Rocky 5, the Burgess Meredith flashback scene.
Oh, that's another good one. I think that always gives you the feeling to cry every time you see that scene. I think that was, I think that's another good scene in Rocky 5. That's him acting wise. I know he gets a lot of shit because he wasn't acting good in that, but you know what? That scene right there, that was some good acting there. He should have. That was Oscar gold right there.
Yeah, especially when you watch the director's cut of that, because he's in the bar, he's completely drunk in the bar, and you could tell that the brain damage acting is on a entirely heightened level than what we saw in the actual movie. In the director's cut, they really focus on the brain damage, and there's that scene like even later on, he drops the kid off at school and he's talking to Paulie, and he starts calling Paulie Mick, and Paulie's like, why are you calling me Mick? The guy's in a box, But going back to that bar scene, like that before the Mickey flashback, he's in the bar and he's telling this crazy pancake story, and he's like wasted out of his tree. And while he's leaving the bar, he can hear everyone saying like, "How did that guy blow it? He had everything, and what a waste of life and everything." So he was like really depressed. And then he gets outside the bar, he lights a cigarette, he turns around, and little Marie's there, and she's a prostitute.
Yeah, I remember that scene. I remember there was a YouTube video where they interviewed her around the time Rocky 5 came out, and it shows that scene. I wonder why didn't they use her for Rocky Balboa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then she's like, "You got any change?" It's like complete everything he told her what would happen. And then, she's like trying to get money off the guy who has no money. And then, so he's really in this situation where there is no hope. Almost like a purgatory where nobody has any hope for the future. Everyone's a lost soul. All the people in the bar are lost souls, They're just wasting the end of their life away. And then he looks up at Mighty Mix, at the poster on top of Mighty Mix, and there's that great widescreen shot of him standing in the middle of the street looking up at the sign.